There are certain things that I don't talk about on this podcast. And if you remember back when this was strictly an audio podcast, I had the tagline, the podcast about anything and everything. But within anything and everything, there were a few things that I didn't even dare approach to talk about. One, like a lot of people, is politics, because I don't think there's any point for me to come on here and give you my political opinion, because you're either A, going to agree with everything I say, or you're B, going to vehemently get angered about it. And that doesn't serve a purpose in any way, shape, or form. We all have political opinions, and it doesn't really matter what mine are to you or anyone else. My political leanings are mine. The other thing that I try not to tread into talking about is the God conversation or religion per se. I will dance right to the edge of things of a religious variety, but I won't step right over into a religious conversation. And people that know me personally know my religious opinion, and I probably have made it clear at points on this podcast, though not overtly what they are. But what I have always steadfastly believed is doesn't matter what I believe. If you want to believe in a God, a biblical God, or if you're a Muslim, or if you're a Hindu, or any religion, and you're devout about it, I'm perfectly happy for you. What I don't like is people that think it's their calling to force their religion onto other people. That's where I kind of draw the line with religious talk. But if you're just a believer in a God or a religion, I have no issue whatsoever with that. So I've kind of chosen not to talk at all about religious topics for the most part on this podcast. But I've kind of been sitting here for probably the better part of a couple hours now, debating on if I really wanted to record this episode, because I kind of dance over into that realm just a little bit with three of the videos that we are going to talk about. So I just want to qualify it. You have seen me react to tons of videos since this has gone to a video podcast. And for the most part, they have all been paranormal driven, if not wrestling or a TV show or a movie. Predominantly, they're all paranormal. Well, this one kind of falls into the paranormal, but it sort of skirts into the religious side of the paranormal. And when it comes to that, I do have an opinion about it, because I think it falls into the whole ghost hunting side of the paranormal. Some people will say, like, kind of like the first video we're going to watch, that Ghosts aren't ghosts, they're demons. And I disagree with that, but that's his opinion. So let's just see what happens. And if I finish recording this and I don't feel right publishing it, I'll just delete it all. So we'll take it at that.
Somewhere around you right now is a portal in your house, on your property, and there are demons all around it. And in just a moment, I'm going to show you a video captured on a security camera of one of those portals. When I used to hear the word portal, even though I have seen many things paranormal, it sounded too Hollywood. I didn't really think they were real. It was just something that sounded cool. Then I got to thinking, paranormal things, they're not God, they're not omnipresent, they're not everywhere, they can't be everywhere at once. So there is some way that they have to travel. One theory is that portals are created when you place two mirrors facing each other.
That has always been sort of a gateway to hell or a gateway to allowing demons into your home. That if you have two mirrors facing each other, I think that's just an old wives' tale, but it has grown legs, as you're about to see.
It creates a portal. Maybe, maybe not. This guy got a portal on his property out in front of his house. He's totally oblivious to this, as you'll see in the video. It looks like a huge bonfire.
I'm going to save my comment for when he shows it because just keep in mind what he just said.
But there is a cloaked figure standing outside of it. Portals are real, and this is what they look like.
How you can tell that's a cloaked figure that far away is beyond me, but he said it's a cloaked figure. But he's 100% right. It does look like a bonfire. And I'm just assuming that person is walking in from the bonfire, but I could be wrong. See, to me, that just looks like somebody having a bonfire. How he says that is a portal, I don't understand. You don't see anything open up, and I don't hold a lot of stock in portals and all of that. And we could do another episode about that later on in the year. But in this age of movie creation software at everyone's fingertips on their phones and their laptops, it's not that hard to create a video with a portal in it. But as far as that one goes, it's not a portal. Just looks like he said in the video, a bonfire with somebody standing next to it. Because I don't see a cloaked figure. I see somebody standing next to that light, but maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you all see a portal. Now, I know the last video he mentioned demons, and I had that long diatribe about religion at the very beginning. The next video is kind of the reason that I brought it up. I have another video from the previous content provider that you just saw, the Spirit Sleuth. I was going to include that on this as well, but the subject matter doesn't really have anything to do with what I wanted to talk about. So I'll save that one for another episode. But a lot of times you will hear these people, and this is the reason I wanted to talk about this. People are praying, I think is the best way to put it, on people's religious beliefs in a lot of short form videos. And what I mean by preying on them, I'm not saying they're trying to coax them into their religion or anything. I say they're using their religious beliefs as a motivation to scare them, to frighten them, to reinforce a religious stereotype, I guess is the best way to put it. And this next video is a perfect example because this is a very quick video, so I'll probably just let it run. Maybe I'll run it a second time so we can all see it and then talk about it. But maybe after watching this, you'll understand what I just meant by all of that.
This man in Mexico spotted something terrifying. After hearing very strange sounds coming from the roof, he decided to check what was happening and spotted this strange creature. What could this have possibly been?
Well, let's start it again and we will take it from there.
This man in Mexico spotted something terrifying. After hearing very
Okay, to me, initially, before he zooms in, it looks like it's just a dog up there that turns its head and looks at whoever happens to be filming it. But then he zooms in, and as you can tell, when the camera zooms in, it kind of looks like it's got not a dog face, but either a human face or some kind of non-canine face is the best way I can think to put that.
very strange sounds coming from the roof, he decided to check.
So he's insinuating that that is some kind of demon or a devil up there. To me, I think, and I could totally be wrong on this, and this is why I made the point about their playing on people that have religious beliefs, specifically with apocalyptic religion, where they really believe in the whole devil and end times and hell and all of that. The revelation portion of the New Testament. This is playing into those fears, making people believe that this is a devil on somebody's roof. I honestly think it's just the dog. And the camera clearly isn't, it's either just a phone camera or it's not a high grade camera because you can tell the color in it isn't all that spelled out. So that probably means the resolution isn't as high quality as a better camera would be. So it's probably not able to pixelate into a perfect picture. So that's, you're kind of seeing what your brain is telling you to see there. So yeah, I think that's just a dog and it's not a devil or a demon or anything.
What was happening and spotted this strange creature. What could this have possibly been?
Yeah. So I just think that's sort of a trick of the camera and lighting when the dog turned and looked. But like I said, some of these content creators are using people's religious beliefs as sort of a scare tactic to get them to watch their videos. And hey, above all, I don't have any issue with them doing that. If that's what they choose to do with their channel and their videos, more power to them. But a lot of times they will use the warning of you really shouldn't do this. These are the things that you shouldn't do. And then they go ahead and show you a video of something that you shouldn't be doing. So it's dualistic. It's telling you not to do something while they're doing it, or trying to scare you into not doing something is probably the best way to put it. And I don't like that. I know I come on here and I don't want to say I debunk other people's stuff, or I don't believe other people's stuff all the time, which is true. I do. But there's been many times where I've showed stuff that I said I actually believe in. So I'm not trying to convince anybody one way or the other. I am just on here sharing my 2 cents, my opinion about certain things. I'm not trying to scare or convince anyone one way or the other. The final video that I want to share in this topic is one that most of us have heard before, because this has been around for probably going on almost 30 years now. It initiated in maybe the late 90s, I would guess, would be the best way to put it. So let's just say 25 years to be safe. And it really gained popularity from Coast to Coast AM, or the Art Bell Show for those that don't know it by Coast to Coast AM. But somebody made a TikTok video about it. So I figured I would just go ahead and play it, and we can take it all from there. I will say that I've actually, way back when, in my day, before podcasting became a thing, they used to be called webcasts, where it was essentially the same thing, but they weren't called podcasts yet. And this was in the infancy stage of video. So you had YouTube was around, and then you had sites like Justin TV, and I'm forgetting some of the other ones that were big at the time that you could do video formats with. Well, we used to do, when we had the paranormal group, we used to do webcasts about our investigations. And when we didn't have investigations, we'd just sort of do a precursor to a podcast where we would talk about paranormal things. So we actually talked about this, the sounds from hell, on our webcast way back in probably 2006, 7-ish. So if you don't know what the sounds from hell are, let's bring you up to speed.
What you're looking at is the deepest hole we humans have ever dug. This hole is 12 kilometers deep. And let me ask you, what do you think we would hear if we lowered a microphone to that depth?
What they're not telling you is this hole was dug in Russia in the 1990s, and I forget what they were drilling for when they were drilling this hole, but allegedly when they were drilling, they broke into a cavern, an opening in the ground at a certain depth, and heard these strange voices allegedly coming out of it.
What you were about to hear wasn't received from deep space. It came from our own Earth, from 12 kilometers down. And the scariest part is that we still have no idea what is actually present deep inside our planet. If we found the sounds of hell within just 12 kilometers, imagine what is really waiting for us deeper down. Now,
I'm not going to give you a religious sermon here, but I implore you to seek out content creator by the name of Dan McClellan. He does a lot of academic biblical videos. I watch a lot of his, and I think I've actually stitched one of his videos in the past on here. But he talks a lot about the idea of, or the reality of hell in the Bible, which he'll point out to you there is no such thing in the Bible as hell. That is a post biblical creation. But don't take my word for it. I'm not the expert. He is the expert. Seek out Dan McClellan and take his word for it. But here are these alleged sounds of hell that they allegedly got in Russia from a 12-mile deep hole.
Listen to this.
Now, it goes on for more than those few seconds, and it's essentially just the same thing over and over again. It sounds like people screaming and people being tormented and everything. I think, I could be wrong. I should have looked it up before I recorded this, but I didn't because, unscripted and all. But I want to say somebody eventually debunked that as being a creation that somebody made, where they were able to take some kind of audio software and sort of break up all those sounds into individual things. But people still hear that, like that TikTok you heard right there, and believe that that actually happened, and that's sounds from hell. And that's what I mean by people doing these videos to scare people. I kind of had second thoughts after that last segment about sharing a Dan McClellan video on here. So I kind of found one and I just cut out the first section of it because it's 8 minutes long. And he's going to explain it way better about hell than I ever could have. So take it away, Dan.
Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and the fit for this video is the old school Hulk. Let's take a look at a video.
Here are 5 biblical facts about hell.
All right, let's see it.
Hell is a very real place, whether you believe in it or not.
There are no data in or outside the Bible that support this. The concept of hell is an invention of Greco-Roman period Judaism that was further systematized and standardized between late antique and medieval Christianity. In the Hebrew Bible, all the dead went to the same place, Sheol. There was no distinction between an afterlife for the righteous and an afterlife for the wicked. That changed in Greco-Roman period Judaism because Jewish communities were suffering so much under the oppressive rule of different empires. And so authors began to contemplate different afterlives depending on this post-mortem divine judgment that was being borrowed from Greek mythology and philosophy. And that gave way to 3 different concepts of hell in the New Testament that are represented inconsistently, but that are then systematized between, again, late antique and medieval Christianity.
So hopefully that kind of spells it out. I am not trying to step on anybody's religious beliefs, no matter what they are or who they are. Matter of fact, I like to think of myself a little bit better than some folks of faith, whether it be Christian or Muslim or Judaism or Hindu, any of them. Some folks believe that their religion is the only religion, and clearly it's not. And then some people, You could watch that entire video that he just did, and he goes point by point on the 5 things that that young lady wants to talk about, sort of debunking the things that she says. And I think the one thing about him that's great is he will admit when he is wrong, even though has a PhD in biblical studies. He will admit that he's not perfect with some things, and he will make videos correcting his mistakes and apologizing for his mistakes. A lot of people that are very ensconced in their belief systems won't do that. I've talked about that as far as the paranormal a lot on this podcast, how people, specifically within ufology, when they get proven wrong, or you could even go ghost hunting as well, or just the paranormal in general, when they get proven to be wrong, they don't say, yeah, okay, I was wrong. They just sort of act like it didn't happen and move on to the next thing. Actually, the same thing could be said for absolute skeptics as well. No matter how much proof that you show them of the possibility, they're still going to have some kind of convenient excuse. So maybe that's just the way of the world, that everybody is so steadfast in their belief systems that they refuse to budge at all. But my point of doing this entire episode isn't about a belief system, isn't about what you believe and what you don't believe in. My whole point of making this is the fact that people use it, and they might even have religious beliefs, those content creators you saw beforehand. They might believe in God or have belonged to a certain religion. That's fine if they do. But they're using scare tactics in their videos to draw people in to watch the videos. And maybe that's the ploy of doing it or getting them to watch anyways. I don't like that, I suppose is the best way to put it, because I just think it cheapens things of the paranormal variety. And the first video from the supernatural sleuth that we watched, he will say a lot in his videos that this could be fake or this could be CGI. And then he'll go ahead and show it anyways. So at least he's given you that sort of escape before he shows it. So it leads me to think, and I'm not a lawyer or I'm not a human lie detector, but it leads me to think when people say things like that, that they don't really believe what they're about to show you either, when they qualify it with this could be. And then the second video with the devil dog, that people see that, and we've talked a lot in the past on here about absolute believers. People will see things and they can't think logically about it. A couple episodes ago, we talked about shadow figures, and I talked about the same thing. People will see what they want to see. And I won't ever come on here. I'll show you some scary things from time to time, but I'm not going to come on here and use scare tactics to get you to watch it. I won't say, this might be the scariest thing that you ever see. And then, I won't come on here like other content creators and say, this is why you shouldn't walk in the woods at night. And then go on and show you a video of some rake, which we're going to do a rake episode at some point throughout the year too. But it's one thing to be scared and to show scary footage, but to me, it's a total different thing to prey on somebody's belief systems and use that as a method of terror, so to speak. I just don't think it's right. But hey, maybe you completely disagree with me. And if you do, that's fine, because I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know wherever it is you're watching or listening to this podcast, because honestly, I would love to hear what you think about all of that. As usual, I don't have a closer for this. So I'm just gonna close with